Food and weight obsession can be exhausting. Losing weight, gaining weight, dieting, feeling like a failure because you missed a workout, binged, overate, or gained all the weight back. The cycle is endless and it can be maddening. But I'm here to say you can stop the mental madness. You can take back control of your food behaviors, but you have to face your fears, you have to ask for help, and make a change. I am Leslie M. Thornton, permanent weight loss coach from hpwl.co. This is Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss, and I know you can make this happen. On this podcast, you will hear how to stop the mental madness, love your body, trust your food decisions so you can create a life of happiness, freedom, and inner peace. Bienvenidos. Leslie M. Thornton here, Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss. What if that dieting weight loss voice isn't even your own voice? What do I mean? I just got off the phone with a client, and honestly, this has been a theme for everyone to really start to get. Sometimes when people start the Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss program, they're gung-ho. They're ready to go. They're open to learning. And then as the journey begins, things can get a little bit challenging. Why? Well, anytime that you are doing a deep transformational change in the way of your mindset. So, for example, you've been dieting your whole life, you've been calorie counting, you know how good it feels to eat really clean and follow your protocols and to exercise daily and meditate. You know how good all of that stuff feels. And then you start not doing those things, and then the voice kicks in. The voice kicks in that's really not nice to you. And you start saying things like, why can't you stay on track? What's wrong with you? Right? We talk about this all the time here at Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss. So while you're in this journey of undoing that old mindset, repaving the neural pathways by way of hypnosis, mindset coaching, action taking, surrendering to the process, is sometimes on your pathway to recovery, on healing your old patterns with ways of thinking with food, body, and weight, you need to step outside of your comfort zone, and you may need to actually eat things again that scare you, even though you know they don't make you feel good. You got to face your fears. You got to ask for help. You got to make a change, right? Ain't nobody lying about the process being easy peasy. But if it were easy, would it be worth it? I will say that on the other side of this mess of being way obsessed with food, body, and weight, of just thinking about it 24/7 and panicking every time the scale went up, etc., that is way worth the pain. It is way worth it to have a lifetime access to not caring about what you're eating or not eating. Of like literal no charge if you have 10 cookies, no charge if you have one cookie, no charge if you miss the gym one day, no hard on yourself for any of that stuff, like literally none, zero. I talked to a coach once and she was like, if anyone tells you that there's zero, they're lying. I'm honestly telling you, okay, I just thought about it. There's zero panic button. I will say that with 100% certainty. There are occasional times, for example, that I may see myself in the mirror and be like, wish that looked a little better. but it doesn't destroy my day. It doesn't change the way I'm eating. It doesn't have me look up new diet plans. It doesn't have me start to go grocery shopping and do different things in a hurry. That part is zero. Having the occasional thought about those things, yes, comes through. No panic button, though, which allows me to stay sane and stable and follow the course and trust the process and be surrendered, and also listen to my higher self about if I do want to make any changes or if everything's actually fine. And then life keeps continuing in this easy, smooth way. I digress as usual. So, process can be hard because you need to face some of these fears, and the panic button's still going to go off as you're doing the work. And then you say, Leslie, I don't know, maybe I should weigh and measure my food again. Everybody else is doing really well. Maybe there's something really wrong with me. Maybe I really can't stick with this. Maybe this really is not the answer for me. And I just hear them because I understand it. I understand entirely. I know the fears, and I remind them that they're allowed to make any choice they want to make in their life. And I want to remind you that right now, as a listener, you're allowed to make any choice you want in your life. The number one, and the client that I just got off the phone with today was talking about how she listens to podcasts all the time, personal development podcasts and health and wellness podcasts. And she's like, that's how I found your podcast, Leslie, which is great. But it's overwhelming to hear what everybody is saying, every single mixed message. And she said, what's great about the work that we're doing is that you're actually giving me access to hearing my own voice and making my own empowered decisions. She didn't say those exact words, but that's what she was saying. And it's like, that's right. Because at the end of the day, whenever you're trying to follow somebody else's plan, it's not sustainable. It ain't yours. It's not authentic. When something is authentically yours, it's your highest truth. It's who you are, regardless of what mom and dad think or say, or parents or siblings or cousins or uncles or aunts or grandmas or best friends or colleagues or coaches or anyone. It's you. And right now in the universe, everyone's starting to open up to that. Consciousness is raising enough where people are starting to realize that no one else has the answers but yourself. I heard this really interesting thing last night on one of the development things I was listening to, and was talking about, it's like consciousness development. I was talking about how back in the day, when the world was quote unquote simpler, the example was like there was 4 TV stations you could turn to when there was first television, right? 6, 10, 13. That's what it is in upstate New York. Just 4 stations. And so it's just like, that's it. Those are the options that you have. And now look at cable TV today. There is something for everybody. Absolutely something for everybody. You can watch anything. You can't put anything in a box. Anything you could imagine exists, all with the click of a button. And consider the fact that all of the diets and all of the personal development and all of the possible avenues for you to lose weight or be healthy is the same. There's like 1 billion channels. I'm one of 1 billion channels. But what makes this channel stand apart? What makes this? I will never tell you your answers. Right? I am here to raise a flag for anyone that wants to be forever free from food, like for real, for real, for real, for real. And your way of getting that is not by willpower or consistency or motivation. Your way of doing that is by learning how to get past your really negative, critical self-talk that you may not. Some people are very aware that they're hard on themselves. You might not know how cruel that voice is. Okay, so going back to the title of today's podcast, what if it isn't even your voice? Client that I had today, had her do one of our exercises, got really clear on what that voice was saying. It's like, you're too fat to run down the street. You should be walking. I can't believe you let yourself get this way. You should be eating like this every day. And the fact that you're not means you're failing at life. Like, just this voice. Right. And then she had this other voice that was like, you should love yourself. You're doing a good job. Sometimes the other voice isn't that nice. Right. Honestly, most of the time, the other voice is like, you're dumb. Like, you should get it together. You're the one who ate the cake last night, and that's your fault. When we get present to this battle going on, so it's like some of us, like, you can feel the battle. The battle looks like, do I have a piece of pie or do I not? Like, that's what the battle looks like. Or maybe the battle looks like you're having this like angry, upset conversation with your partner, right? Your closest relationship. It's a mirror for the conversation you're having with yourself. And if I were to tell you that it has absolutely nothing to do with whether you have the cake or you have nothing for dessert, and it's really about this inner conflict and these nasty voices judging you all the time and like shaming you all the time. And if you were to get to the bottom of those voices, that you'd get total and complete freedom every day, do you resonate with that? Is there a deeper part of you that's like, maybe it's not about that. Like, maybe it's about the fact that my mom was a perfectionist and would comment on the way I was eating all the time. Or my dad one time said one thing about the way I was eating and it impacted me. I just heard a story today of someone else. It was a comedian who was talking about how she just started going to therapy. And she's like, turns out your childhood has absolutely everything to do with who you are in the present moment. And she was saying how like she started working on her crazy food stuff and like how she was obsessed with food, body, and weight. God bless her for talking about it, because so many people are. And she was like, there was one moment where I was eating a bagel and my dad told me, put the bagel down. Your mom and I are getting a divorce. And like from that day on, her brain associated this trauma with the bagel, putting the bagel down. It's like, in order for bad things not to happen, I have to put the bagel down. It's like weird like that, but that's exactly how this works. It's ridiculous. It seems like, Leslie, this is stupid. Or I don't know, maybe to you it sounds like Eureka, but it's Eureka. It's Eureka. I don't know anyone else who's doing work like we are at Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss. Like, watch out. Because it's honestly me. Like, I'm the only one getting in the way of us being the top 7 weight loss companies that are actually doing good work in the world. Like, I'm probably one of the only ones that refuses to tell you what to do because I want you to know that you have your own answers. Gosh, what would it be like if you didn't have to go back and forth and be like, should I track? Should I not track? Should I listen to my body? Should I do intuitive eating? Should I do keto? Should I do cleansing? It's like, no, stop. Like, this constant questioning and back and forth, it's preventing you from being present with your children or grandchildren or your husband. It may feel like you're present, but if you're doing that all day long, you're not. And you're not emotionally available for people. And that impacts kids. They feel when you're not there with them. They know when you're disconnected. They're very perceptive little children beings. I don't have them, but I've spent a fair amount of, they know. And the more they're acting up, the more you know you're not present. Because they're trying to get you to be present, but you're stuck in your brain all the time. Not to shame you, not to guilt you, but just as an avenue of like, yeah, I actually do want to take the time to invest in this self-hatred, critical talk that maybe I'm aware of, maybe I'm not. maybe what you're aware of is the fact that you can't ever make a decision and stick with it when it comes to whatever you're doing with your health. It's not normal. It's not something you have to deal with for the rest of your life. It's not just a bad deck of cards you were dealt. It's not. I thought it was. I was like, yeah, I just got a really crappy hand. Like, I'm going to be a food addict for the rest of my life. I'm going to deal with weight the rest of my life. Guys, I really thought that. Like, if you were to tell me back in 2010 that like I'd get beyond this forever one day, I would have cried and been like, how? I'm going to cry right now thinking about it because I was in a suffering place for a long time. Like, you can ask my family. They didn't really know, but they knew. And it only was getting worse, worse and worse. The more that I did about it and the more successful I was at weight loss because I was willing to do whatever it took, the more in pain I was every time I made a mistake and fell off track. It was bad. But I'm glad it happened because now my life is expanding in profound ways now that I'm working at the actual source of this. So whose voice is it, right? If you unconsciously are saying these horrible things to yourself, again, you may know that you're saying these things, you may not, because you might, to avoid hearing the voice, for example, you may not look at yourself in the mirror. You may not let people take photographs of you. You may not look at photographs of yourself. You may not buy new clothes because going to the dressing room and putting on a pair of pants that's a size that you don't like is so painful. You're avoiding life and you're making it worse. It actually makes you fatter. It's not your fault. It's normal that human beings avoid feeling pain. But if you were to stand in the mirror and look at yourself and like say, all right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to feel the pain. And you were to take note of what you were saying to yourself, it's nasty stuff. Like nasty. Like, you fat F. I can't believe you just did that. You deserve to die. Like, that's what shame says. I've been doing shame work on myself and like seeing it's like really mean, nasty stuff. I'm like, wow, there's a part of me that like thinks that I shouldn't be on this planet Earth right now. Like, I don't deserve to be here. Like, what? And you'll see that mirrored back in relationships. If you have like ever have had relationships where your arguments were nasty with people, right? Or like they just were like, if something was like, right? Like, I was never in like anything that was super violent or ragey or anything, but I saw where people I was dating, their brains would turn into like this evil, wrathy kind of, like, they saw me as like, right. And it's like, because I hadn't seen my own shame and they hadn't seen their own shame. So then that's what ends up creating this dynamic of like, we about to abandon each other because we don't see ourselves. And that's our biggest fear as human beings, that we're going to be abandoned. So we don't see it. And then we hide out and we don't say anything. And then we just try to diet all the time so that our husbands don't abandon us or we still belong. What? Like, that's insane. That's like next level. Like, can you help me get this word out? Because we doing it over here. People are really getting these freaking shifts for the rest of their life in 8 weeks. Like, what would it be like if you didn't have to deal with food, body, and weight stuff in 8 weeks from now? Seriously, go into it like 2 months from now. Right now, it's almost October. It's like by October 1st, November 1st, by December 1st, you'd be free. By Christmas, you wouldn't care anymore about the way you looked and would be free around if you had Christmas cookies or not and didn't eat the whole damn box. Okay. Voice is evil. something you realize it's not even your voice. I asked my client today, I said, okay, great. You're doing awesome. Now, whose voice is this? And we got present to the fact that, you know, dad said something in the past. Mom never said anything, but kind of was always a perfectionist. And so therefore she kind of took on this voice, not even her voice. Some nasty. If someone ever came into your house and said, you fat F, I can't believe you ate 10 cookies. What is wrong with you? What would you do? You'd be like, get the F out of my house right now. You would hate them and you would make them leave immediately. You would scream at them. And you're letting that person in your house right now. Your body, your life, your mind. And don't let that be a shame yourself thing, because you can't know what you don't know and you don't have the tools to look at this stuff yet. But you can. So by the end of this conversation, after we released all of this shame and critical self-criticalness and had an imaginary conversation with mom and dad about this, and she was able to give herself what she needed all along, which was more love and acceptance and understanding and someone to say, I'm sorry, and forgiveness. At the end of that, she just easily knew her own answer. She's like, I want to move my body because it feels good, and I want to eat healthy because it feels good. I said, there you go. You're done. She's like, that's awesome. Because otherwise she's coming to me and I'm the projection of her mom and dad of being like, Mom, can I weigh and measure my food again? It's like, well, let's look at that, honey. Let's look at that. Like, where is this coming from? Well, we found out it's coming from wounding. It's like, well, I don't want you to start doing that from a space of wounding, of hating yourself. If you're going to weigh and measure your food, then just do it. It's when it's something authentic and not from an emotional space, you just do it easily. Just like, that's what I want to do. So that's what I'm going to do. Like, and you don't even need to talk about it. You don't need to ask a question about it. But if you're asking the question, ding, 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 it's probably because this is coming from a wound. So a real loving, compassionate parent sees you in the wound and loves you through the wound. And then once you get through the wound, or you cry a little bit or get upset, then they ask, what do you want to do? And they empower you in making your own choice. And my intention for all my clients is that they feel empowered to make their own choices when it comes to their own bodies and their own weight. And so I empower you in knowing how to use and what the right tools are to gain access to your own truth. Like, what? And then that transforms your relationships, because you're seeing these voices in your head. You have deeper conversations with loved ones. You get closer with partners. Your intimate sex life gets better if you're in one. You do better at work because you're no longer trying to avoid the shame after making a mistake. So you start making more money. Or you're like, I don't like this career I'm in. I need to shift it. That's not right for me. And you find happiness and joy elsewhere. Or you get into a relationship because you weren't in one before. And you start to lose weight because you are just not emotionally eating to try to numb away on this stuff, which is the ultimate. But by the time my clients get in here and they start to get some of that relief, they actually get present to what they care about. And some of them don't actually care about that. It was like, oh, I only cared about that because I was afraid of abandonment because mom wouldn't love me anymore if I was a size whatever from the past. It's like, did mom say that? Or did you say that? Like, are you a free spirit actually? And like, you having a super skinny body every day. The example I gave her was like, my mom also, I would say, a bit of a perfectionist and always made sure she was doing good, eating right, all the things. And I found a diet, Bright Line Eating, which I've talked about before, that was exactly the way mom ate automatically. And I was like, Eureka, I got it. Right. Because I always like admired my parents, and I, would like kind of put them on a pedestal and be like, everything they do is amazing, which I had to work on with this client too, of being like, yes, and your parents failed you in these ways, and we need to own that as well. It's important part of your healing journey. And so I thought I found it because I was eating the same way mom did. And she had the perfect body. And now I had the perfect body. And like, yes, didn't last. Super painful when I came off it. And why didn't it last? Because I was doing it to prove to mom that I could do the same thing she was doing. I did it to like prove to I did it because of mom. It wasn't me. I'm not mom. You're not mom. You're not dad. You're not mom. You're not your siblings. You're not anyone you know. You're you. Do you know you? I didn't know me at all. This is the way you get to know you. And this is how you attract your authentic energy into your life, which is where happiness and health lies. Amazing. I love you so much. I want you to love yourself so much. I want you to understand that it really is loving yourself to freedom. I'm doing a retreat this weekend for my clients, virtual one this time. And it's called Love Yourself to Freedom because that's what this work is all about. It takes it's a lot emotional. You got to do it in a way you've never done it before. But if you want what I have now, life of happiness, freedom, inner peace, not thinking about food, body, and weight, just thinking about how I can like enjoy my life every day more and more by doing this work more and more, then is it time to text the number 1-855-BE-ALIVE for the free training. And underneath that link is a link to book a call with us. Could be one call away from your entire life changing. Like circle the date. This is the day that you booked a call with Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss and the day that you changed your life for good. Until next time. If you are serious about taking action on your struggle with food, body, and weight, then this is for you. Go ahead and text the word hypnosis to 855-BE-ALIVE. That's 855-232-5483. Immediately after texting that number, you will get access to our free training that will tell you why you can't figure the food, body, and weight thing out, why you can't keep weight off even after you've been successful in the past, and how to actually overcome it, including a mini hypnosis session at the end. Don't miss out. Text the word hypnosis to 855-BE-ALIVE. That's 855-232-5483.